It's so amazing when tapped into the abundance and the infinite possibility of life. There is no silver bullet per se. There is no formula for success. But this right here is an amazing representation of that sustainability, of that success, of that abundance, of that thrival. And so what we've got right here is we've got a pallet wall, which we're running down here for our chicken and goat kingdom. And the reason why we're doing that is because, one, we want to keep the goats and the chickens out of our garden, and two is we want to protect the goats and chickens from the wolves, from the foxes, from the raccoons, possums, and things like that, wild dogs. And so we're building this pallet wall, and not only is these pallets totally free, saved from the trash, but they're serving our purpose perfectly. We've got them tied together with lashing, not using any nails. And we've got them double stacked, too high. It's quite sturdy. The spacing of the pallets is perfect to keep predators out and to keep animals in. And so what we're doing now is we're taking it to the whole next level. And what we're doing is we're creating a living wall. And we're doing that by filling these pallets with dirt. So what I've done is I've taken the faces off more pallets. These are just plywood faces from a pallet. I pulled them off, and then I nailed them in. I just used 4 nails, just enough to hold it there, and put it on the front face of this pallet. On the back side, we're taking some old vinyl tarping and we're stapling it in up the back. And then we're filling the inside of the pallet with dirt. And we're sort of, tapping it in, packing it in as we go. Now what's going to happen is we're going to have the pallets full of dirt, and it's going to be pretty well packed in. And then I can take off, just pop out the 4 nails with these pallets, take off the face, and plant in the slats of the pallet. And then the roots will grow. They'll hold the dirt together. They'll hold and bind the pallet together. And if you grow something that's harvestable, you'll also have a harvestable food product. You could potentially do flowers, you could do vines, you can grow whatever you want. It could be for beauty, it could be for, harvestability, whatever you choose. What's really amazing is that we're using pallets which are free, harvested from the trash. We're creating a wall that keeps predators out, keeps the animals in, and it's also going to be growing and providing us food. So because we've got this kingdom down here at the far end of our property, we're probably going to just plant some herbs or some sort of native plants that require no water. That way we don't have to water it. But it's totally doable to have a pallet wall that gets watered. Now, in order for it to work properly, there's going to have to be some sort of irrigation system that's set up. Otherwise, the water's not going to get saturated with the soil won't get saturated with water. So I've come up with a few ideas already, and of course there's more. One is you could actually just run drip tubing through the wall. So as you're filling it, you would lay drip tubing, every foot or every 2 feet, and then you would put some dirt on top, you'd pack it in, lay more drip tubing, pack it in, lay more drip tubing, pack it in. Then you could just have all the drip tubing hooked together in one continuous row, one continuous line, and hook it to a faucet, turn it on for however long it needs to be turned on, for whenever it needs to be turned on, and you've got a growing living wall that's being watered. Another way is that you could potentially take PVC pipe, or in this circumstance, even better, some sort of a metal, aluminum, steel, Ideally some sort of an alloy that doesn't rust would be best, but you could stick poles, tubes, from the top all the way down to the bottom. You know, you could hammer it in the ground a little bit with a sledgehammer, and what that's going to do is it's going to give the vertical wall a lot more stability, because we've got double stacked pallets here, so we've got a seam. Well, if there was a tube all the way through it, you know, on either end, and there was soil packed around, especially if there was clay in that soil, packed around those tubes, it's sort of like putting rebar in cement. It's going to give that wall a lot of structural stability. Then within those tubes you can have holes drilled, and then you can fill the top of the tube with water, and the soil is going to absorb the water out of the tube through the holes. And however often you need it, you just fill back up the tube at the very top, and you know, it releases its water into the soil. It's totally awesome, totally amazing. So those are a couple really viable, very doable solutions to this amazing, this amazing reality. I'm coming up with all sorts of amazing ideas how to use these living, growing walls. In truth, you could actually build an amazing inhabitable house out of these pallet walls.
I think they get pretty good at it.
You could build the whole, you know, just say a square structure to be simple. You could build a whole square structure with these pallet walls. You could, you know, use some sort of beams to, you know, to hold them structurally sound, or, you know, some sort of rebar or tubing inside of the walls, and then you can pack all the walls with that soil. And then you can grow things inside of those walls. And what's going to happen is that you're going to have a very highly insulated wall because of all that soil and because of all those plants. So most likely a pallet wall packed with soil is going to be way more insulated than 99% of the house that exists in the United States. So if you have a house that's, you know, built with plywood and 2x4s and drywall, this is going to be way more insulated than that. It's going to keep the heat in way better. It's going to keep the heat out way better. It's going to keep the cool air in. It's going to keep the cool air out. It's going to be better in every way of insulation. Because it's got growing plants on the outside, it's also going to protect your wall from the hot summer sun. It's going to, you know, because the plants are going to absorb the power of that sun, use photosynthesis to convert it into plant life, and that heat is actually never going to touch the surface of your wall, and so it's going to keep your house extremely cool in the summertime. On top of that, you'll be able to have a wall that you can just walk outside to and pick your food, pick your salad, you know, get your herbs for your tea. I mean, you don't even have to go out to the garden, you just go and pick your wall. So this is amazing. I mean, this could potentially be revolutionary. I've seen the vision, I know that it'll work, and I'm going to prove it. I'm going to show you step by step exactly how amazing it is, how easy it is, how abundant, how sustainable, how beautiful it really is. So I'm excited. This is just the beginning. Run with it now if you're ready. Otherwise, tune in and I'll keep you posted to the evolutionary unfolding in the new paradigm. Bless.
Bye.
Bless.